Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Welcome to the Having It All podcast, the show about what it takes to live an abundant, loving life. My name is Matthew Bivens, and each week I'm helping you get out of your head so that you can truly have it all. Let's do it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Having It All podcast. And welcome to a different kind of episode. So I'm sure you can tell from the title of this episode that I'm going to be talking about some stuff that I have been struggling with big time lately. And I want to practice something that I feel like I've gotten away from, and that's vulnerability. I haven't given myself the permission to be vulnerable. Not just here on the show, but in my life in general. Being vulnerable and honest and transparent with Sarah, with my friends, with myself, to be honest. And it's been something I've been dealing with for a number of months, for the majority of the year. And it's just kind of been under the surface, but it's been growing. And so I want to talk about what has been growing within me, and I want to talk a little bit about what's happened in my life as a result. And I also want to talk about what I've been doing, because I have been doing some things to get through this ebb. We go through ebbs and flows in life. And I'm very aware of that. And I even embrace that, because I think that's, those ebbs, those down moments are they will give you the opportunity to see yourself and love yourself more deeply and have compassion and use courage. And those things lead to the up moments, the flow moments. So I'm okay with ebbs and flows, but man, I'll just be so real. I've been experiencing some deep ebbs, some deep down moments. And there's a couple things that have been going on anytime I'm in those down moments that until recently I haven't been able to name. But with more introspection and kind of going through my process, I can name them now. And so I want to talk about that with you all. And this is a different episode. I don't have any intros. I'm not doing any magic or listener love and all that. And I'm definitely going to have some colorful language in here, because I'm just going to allow myself to express. So, this isn't one that you want to listen to with loved ones. Or excuse me, not loved ones, little ones, little ears. So I'll be honest, I feel a little weird right now. I don't have like a big old outline. I have some notes that things I want to touch on, but this is the second or third time that I've started and stopped this episode, because it's taken me a while to just figure out how to proceed in it. So I'm doing my best, but I have just been experiencing some shit. Like life has felt hard. Life has felt hard for me for the past several months. Like I said, most of the year. And it's increased in the challenge, like the challenge of it all has increased. And I've gotten to a point recently where I feel like when I get into my funk, it is hard to get out of my funk. And I sit in it for a little while longer, and the funk feels funkier, if that makes sense. And so with a lot of just being with myself and having conversations like this, where I'm just talking it out loud and just thinking and processing and doing my best, I've arrived at a couple of things that have been really fucking with me lately. And I think the biggest one has been self-doubt. Just a lot of doubting myself, doubting my abilities, doubting my creativity, doubting my expertise, doubting my experience, doubting my value and my worth. And so that worthiness has been in there as well. Not feeling worthy of people's love, not feeling worthy of affirmation from others or gratitude from others, not feeling worthy of money, not feeling worthy of abundance. And those two things, man, that fucking pair has just whooped my ass a lot lately, emotionally. And I felt very tired. Like emotionally drained and emotionally tired. And, I'm so okay with the self-growth process and the healing process. I mean, I've been very committed to it within myself for, over 6 years now, just very committed. And I'm okay with that because I'm playing for my greatness, and I'm playing to express myself fully and authentically. I'm playing to love myself, others, in life at a deeper level. I'm playing for, to just go for it in life, really fucking go for it, and let my light shine completely. You know what I mean? And just give everything I got to life and receive everything I can from life, and just really go for it. Fucking have it all. That's what I'm playing for. And I understand that is a big game to play for. And I understand that there's healing that happens along that journey. There's growth that needs to happen, and transformation. And it's not simply a smooth sailing. And there are ebbs and flows, and there are ups and downs, and you do get your ass beat, and you will get up, and then you get smacked down again. And I'm okay and comfortable with all of that. And even with that being said, it has been fucking hard lately. It has been very hard lately. And I'm not used to having so much doubt. That little voice of, well, you shouldn't do that. Well, don't say that. That's not a great idea. That little voice, man, has just gotten loud. And it's gotten louder to where I hear it more often, and it kind of overpowers some of my other voices. And it's gotten more difficult to shut off. And so what that's looked like in my life is, this week is a great example. On Monday, I was flying high, man. I was on it. I was in my beast mode, right? Like, it was activated and I was ready to go. I was executing. I was feeling confident. I was using a lot of courage. There was things that I was doing for my business that I was nervous about, and it was uncomfortable, but I was going to do it anyway. And boom, I was in it. And Tuesday was the total opposite. I just had that doubt in my mind. And that doubt voice was telling me all sorts of shit, and I was believing it. And because I was believing it, I was feeling defensive. I was feeling anxious throughout the day. I had several meetings, and I was feeling like I was going to be confronted and exposed in those meetings. And I had a couple things that I wanted to try to accomplish, and I didn't feel like I could do them. And it was just a rough day. And that's kind of how it has been for a while. Like, the ebbs and flows. The ebbs, those down moments have been deep down moments. And the flows have been solid, but the ebbs have been like fucking, like, it's just being in like the La Brea tar pit, like sticky and really hard to get out of the ebb. And then when I'm in the flow, I'm in my flow and I'm comfortable and I'm feeling myself, and boom. And then some shit happens and the ebb goes down. And I was talking to Sarah about it a couple hours ago. And I was telling her that normally I feel like I can flip that switch. Like, normally I know the tools that I can go to when I'm in a funk, and I can use those tools and put them to work, and I can get myself out. But lately it's just felt, and Sarah put it nicely, she's like, maybe the switch has just felt bigger and required more of you to flip it. And I think that's pretty accurate. Like, that switch has felt a lot bigger.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper? A woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver. I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
And so I wasn't aware of the full extent of how I was feeling until a couple things happened. I was reading a book. It's a book about money, and one of the exercises in there had me writing down writing down like a big something big and scary I could do to move my business forward, and eventually ultimately attract more money, and write down that big scary thing, and then write down where the fear comes from and what's the fear all about. And when I did that exercise, like I found myself being afraid of my own success. Like I found myself being afraid of, what if all of it works? Like what if I actually can have it all? What if, the abundance does flow to me? And I found myself being afraid of that. And I didn't realize that fear was in there. And I found myself not feeling fully worthy of it all, that I haven't done enough to deserve it, that I have to work hard. I have to work harder. I have to put in more dues. I have to, be that martyr in order to be worthy of receiving those things. And that was a big eye opener for me. And that was just a couple weeks ago. And then I had a friend of mine. He's a close friend, and we talk a lot about business, and we hold each other accountable to different business things. And he just gave me some honest feedback and just called me out and was like, "Dude, you just haven't been executing lately. What's going on? You flip-flop and you aren't keeping your word." And when he said that to me, it gave me an opportunity to like really look at that and to see like, wow, you know what? I haven't been keeping my word. I haven't been keeping my agreements. And I've also, some of the other things that have happened recently is I felt a lot of emotion. Past 2 weeks especially, I've cried several times, like big fucking tears, ugly cry. And I'm okay with crying. I think it's very cleansing. And when I feel that emotion come up, I want to honor it and let it out. But it's been coming up a lot more than it ever really has. And so that just tells me that there's some shit in there that is working its way out and working its way through me. And I felt my body, like I've gotten sick basically a couple times this year, and that's atypical for me. So my body's been speaking to me. And I've just felt a lot of fear when it comes to putting myself out there in my business, and fear when it comes to this podcast, quite frankly. I've had a lot of doubts about the different episodes and not feeling like the content was good enough. I'm making air quotes. It's not good enough. And doubting myself. That's where that self-doubt comes in. Like, no, it's not good enough. It's not raw enough. It's not this, that, or the other. And so much of the stuff I've been dealing with has had to do with what I believe other people feel or think about me, and wanting to have them feel or think something different about me. And so let me go and research what are the big topics about balance right now. And so I can add to that conversation, as opposed to trusting myself and, listening to my own inner voice and creating my own podcast content based on what I feel inspired to do. So that self-doubt has just crept in so many different ways. And I don't enjoy the feeling. I just haven't enjoyed the feeling of not trusting myself, having that low confidence, not feeling worthy, feeling very critical about myself, very critical about my body, feeling like I'm too skinny or skinny fat, like feeling like, your stomach has these rolls, or feeling like I haven't been putting in the reps in the gym, or it's so fucking insidious because none of that shit is true. But man, when that voice gets going, like you can believe fucking anything. Like you can believe anything. I have data because I use these different tools, and they keep numbers. And so I have data that shows that, my strength and my power has gone up. That shows that, at least in the past several weeks, I've been keeping my commitments, and the data is there, but it doesn't fucking matter. That little voice and those thoughts can just come in and convince you of anything. In this case, it's totally convinced me that at times that I'm not shit. Like, you ain't shit, man. And here's the reasons why. And when I'm in that mode and when that stuff has popped up, like, I will find the evidence to convince myself and to add to the story that I'm not showing up powerfully, that, I'm not trusting my ideas, that I'm not worthy of this or that. Like, I will find my own evidence to make all of that true. And it's just a way of being and feeling that I'm not used to, and I don't like the feeling of it. And so, some of the things that have resulted, like some other stuff, is I use this balance chart tool. And the balance chart is a tool about me keeping my word to myself and doing things that I say I'm going to do week in and week out. And my numbers have just been so low. Like, I haven't been keeping my commitments to myself. And that's so big for me. Integrity is my number one value. And so I haven't been doing that. And I've been okay with not doing that. And that's the motherfucker right there. Like, I've been okay with not showing up for myself. And that's been a tough pill to swallow. And then I've seen it where I'm not keeping my agreements in my COI. That's the small group that I lead, the small accountability group that I lead, and not keeping my agreements to hit my goals there. Not keeping my agreements in my my mastermind group. I have a business mastermind that I'm a part of, and we set goals there. And so I've just seen as I've doubted myself and I've allowed the feelings of not having that confidence and trust and not feeling worthy to creep in. I don't know which one has come first, if the feelings have came in and then I don't show up for myself, or if I don't show up for myself and then that allows the feelings to come in. I think they're like married together. But those things have been happening simultaneously, and I've just been wanting to retreat. I've been wanting to do what I did when I was a kid, when I was going through this shit, to go inward and to shut people out. And what's been so crazy when I won't even say crazy, I don't want to judge myself, but what's been so fascinating about this is what I've seen and felt myself do is convincing myself that I'm alone in this. Convincing myself that other people don't get me. So I have told myself that I can't share this with Sarah because she won't get me. And you know what? If Sarah did get me, she would see it and she would come over to me and say, "What's wrong? I see something's wrong. I want to help you. I love you. I'm here for you." And since she hasn't done that, then obviously she doesn't get me, and obviously she doesn't want to help, and obviously I'm alone in this. Like, that is the thoughts that have been percolating. And I've got such a tight community of people here that, they're like fucking inner circle people. And I've told myself that since none of them are reaching out to me, obviously they don't care. Obviously I must not be worthy of it. Otherwise they would be reaching out and they would be like checking in on me and, trying to see what love that I need or what support I need, but they're not doing it. So obviously they just don't care. And I'm like, and maybe you can relate to where you will find evidence to be right. And that's what I've been doing. I've been finding the evidence to be right that I'm alone, that people don't get me, that people don't love me the way that they say they do. And so it's been this fucking gumbo pot of, feelings and stories and fears that have just swirled together. And I've just been eating from that pot for a little while and feeling it. And I haven't been activating that sexual energy. I haven't been creating that intimacy with Sarah, that sexual intimacy, moving that sexual energy, that lovemaking. I haven't been doing that to the frequency that I'm accustomed to and that I normally do. That's connected to like the worthiness, not feeling worthy of that love, and not trusting myself with that energy, and not trusting myself with that responsibility. And so it's been some shit. It's been some stuff, but I've also been doing things along the way as I've recognized, like, okay, there's some shit going on. Like, let's do some stuff. So I've been doing the best that I can. And this conversation right now, me sharing, is part of my process of like, let me talk about this. Because yesterday I was driving, and one of the things that I do is I'll turn my phone on and go to my voice recorder, and I'll just start recording myself talking. And I do a little bit of driving here and there throughout my week, and I have these 20, 30-minute trips where I'm by myself. And so I'll use that time to just talk out how I'm feeling. I've been doing that a lot lately. And yesterday, when I was doing that, I lost my train of thought. What was I about to say? I think I was talking about being vulnerable. Yeah. I was just finding that I was creating all these reasons why I should not be vulnerable, that I should not share. And it was really interesting because there was a story that I was believing that, for example, with this podcast, it's not a good look for me to be vulnerable and talk about my struggles. And this is the story I'm telling myself, because folks are looking to you for advice, and people are looking to you for answers. And so you need to present that you are confident and that you are, certain in yourself, because if you aren't stable and rock solid in yourself, if you're doubting yourself, then people who listen to you aren't going to be taking you seriously. They're not going to have confidence in what you say, and they're going to not listen anymore, or they're going to think that I'm a certain, that I'm weak or that I'm whatever. And so it's not a good look for you to be very open and vulnerable. I told myself that. I've convinced myself of that. And then within my relationship with Sarah, nah, man, you don't want to be telling Sarah that you're struggling. You don't want to do that, because you are the rock of the family, and the family flows the way that you're flowing. So if you're feeling unstable and you share that with Sarah, then she's going to be unstable, and she won't have confidence in your vision and the direction, and she will start to waver, and she will start to question. And so don't share with Sarah. And with my coaching clients and with the folks that I coach, at the gym every week, it's like, don't be vulnerable with them, because you're a coach and they're looking to you for guidance. They're looking to you for stability. You've got to have everything, you've got to have everything in check. You can't be wavering. You've got to, be on your game. So no, you can't let anybody gain that you're feeling off your game. Don't do that. It's not a good look, man. Don't do that. And then with my community of people, it's like, no, you've got to be a king, and you're here to support and love on everybody, and you're here to show up powerfully, and you're influential, and people are looking to you, and you've got a role to play. So no, don't let on that this stuff is hard. Don't let on that you're having doubts. Don't let on that you're feeling unworthy. You don't want to do that. Not a good look. And as I've bought into that story, I haven't shared. And when I don't share, then I can convince myself that I'm alone, and then my walls can go up, and then I can seek out confirmation that I'm alone and people don't care. And so what you're hearing is part of my process. And like I was saying, I have been working on this in these different ways, and you've seen evidence of it. I did an episode not too long ago about self-hype, like learning how to self-hype and giving yourself permission to be awesome. And you know what? That was an episode for me. Like, I needed to give myself permission to hype myself up. And I even think I said that the episode was inspired by something in my own life, but it was part of it was part of me working on, okay, let me turn this around. And so I've been working on being more vulnerable. I've been working on examining where I haven't been keeping my agreements, and then, okay, let me step up my accountability to keep those agreements. So making sure that if I'm setting some goals on my COI, that I hit my goals, because I know that it's so much bigger than just doing the goal. It's keeping my agreement to myself and being able to trust that if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And that's so big for me. So I've been making sure that I'm setting smarter goals so that I'm actually hitting them. And then same with my balance chart. I looked and I saw that the data was telling me I have not been keeping my word on my balance chart. I play for an 85 and up. I play for really getting into the high 80s and into the 90s in my BC every week. That means 90% of the habits that I say I'm going to do, I actually perform. And the past 12 weeks, so the balance chart shows you over the course of your 12 weeks, like it keeps that data for live for 12 weeks. About more than half of those are low, 70s, 60s, 50s. There's even a 40 or a 30 in there. So I just haven't been keeping that agreement. And so one of the things I've been doing is stepping up my accountability in that area and keeping my word. And it's felt great. And with business, I've been struggling with executing. I've just been, the self-doubt has caused me to start working on a project. For example, I wrote this big-ass ebook on balance, 50-something pages. And then 2/3 of the way through it, I started to doubt it. I started to doubt myself. This isn't quality. This isn't valuable. This isn't what you really want to be like talking about and sharing about. And so the doubts crept in and just fucking sabotaged the whole thing. And it's just sitting half completed. And so what I've been working on in the business is actually following through on my execution. So you all saw me release the Balance System ebook. Part of that was I really needed to complete something and not have these things sitting on the back burner, because each one of them was a reminder of just not following through. So I've been doing little things and big things over the course of these past months to work on these things I've been challenged with. I've been writing down gratitudes. I did a whole podcast about gratitudes. I talked about how when I was in London and Slovenia that I was keeping a gratitude list. I mean, part of that was to turn around some of the scarce feelings I was having, some of the fear feelings I was having, some of the lack I was having. Because, you know what, let me be real grateful for what I have and the people around me. So I have been doing and performing different actions and things to work on it. Sharing more magic, right? Recognizing the magical moments. Like, okay. I know it. In this moment, you're feeling like you ain't shit, but let's reflect on some magic. Because the magic is just evidence of how fucking powerful I am. So let me just reflect on it. So, yeah. It's been some stuff, man.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
And, when I'm in my flow, like, I could be grateful for it, because I truly, truly, truly feel that as I get closer to a breakthrough, like a big great breakthrough and like a leap forward and a leap, whatever we want to call it, that shit gets tougher. That it gets challenging, and you're like, God, I just want this to be over, and I can't do it anymore, and I'm gonna let go, but hold on, and then boom, you break through. And I feel like that's where I'm at. But the fucking road to get through that breakthrough it's fucking felt hard. Yeah. I'm trying to think, what are some other things that I've been doing? And the reason I'm sharing this, as well as some of the execution stuff, is because I know some of y'all are feeling the same thing. I know that you're going through your own doubts and having super low trust in yourself, and self-esteem has just been fucking rocked, and not feeling confident at all. Just not feeling connected with your intuition. Like, you can't even trust your inner voice, or you don't even know you have an inner voice, don't even hear it. And so I know that you might be in that same boat. And it's so funny. It was like, when I'm in that stuff, sometimes I don't know that others are feeling the same way. That's the shit that happens, man. Like, you just feel like you are all alone in it. And I think for me, when I'm starting to convince myself that I'm all alone, it's like doing something or putting out some sort of lifeline if I feel like I can't get myself out of that hole, that, hey, I'm going down, I need a little bit of help. And that's a muscle that I'm working on repping, because it's not an easy muscle for me to ask for help or to reach out to someone and say, hey, I don't know what I need, but I need you. Like that's a hard thing for me to do. And I'm a beginner at that. Like I'm a beginner in that. But I'm open to working on it. Like I'm open to leaning on these amazing people that I've attracted into my life and that I've surrounded myself with, who will be there for me. And that takes courage. And so my courage in that area has just been a bit low. And I just really want to not keep the stuff inside. I really want to allow these feelings to flow out, because I believe it's energy, and I just want this energy to have a space to, to leave me, or for me to transmute it and change it and shift it, or to be with it, whatever it is. But I feel like the way that I've been processing a lot of this recently has not been very healthy. I've been just kind of stewing in it and not sharing it, and I list out a bunch of ways that it was showing up in my life and impacting my life. And I don't like the feeling of wanting to dodge responsibilities. I don't like the feeling of not wanting to take a coaching call. I don't like the feeling of not feeling worthy of reaching out to this potential, business partner to work together, because of course they're not going to want to work with me, because who the hell am I? I don't like that feeling. Like, I don't like the feeling of wanting to not connect with Sarah. I don't enjoy that feeling of feeling like I'm not doing enough for this podcast and this community, that I'm not making quality content, that I'm not being it. I don't like that feeling, and I recognize that feeling is connected to a lot of just thoughts and beliefs and stories that I'm allowing to be true in my mind, even though they aren't true. And so all of this conversation, this episode, and everything that I'm engaging in is me turning that ship around. Because I definitely believe that ship can be turned around, and I feel like it is turning around for me. Even though there's those ebbs, like yesterday's ebb was fucking a deep one, I feel like the ship is turning around, and I'm okay with maybe there's an ebb tomorrow. Like I'm okay with that, because I'm okay with that. And boy, this human experience is quite the ride, huh? Man, this is real stuff. This like life is not always easy, and I think that's one of the things that when I get into looking at social media, I can so easily buy into this belief that I'm the only one who doesn't have my shit together, right? And that's one of the things that like I've just been working on avoiding certain things, because that comparison is big within me too. I will compare myself to other podcasters, other business owners, other men, other fathers, and again, because the only thing I can see from those people are the things they want me to see, and I don't know what's going on in between their ears and in their heart. It's just so easy to be like, see, they got their shit together. Why don't you? And so I just really wanted to share. For me, I wanted to share for myself. I wanted to get back into just being so open and honest with myself, and just allowing myself to be vulnerable, and realizing that it's okay for me to be vulnerable. It's okay for me to share. It's okay for me to not know what to do next. It's okay for me to not feel confident. It's okay for me to have those doubts. It's okay for me to not feel worthy in the moment. It's all right. Because a big part of what has been going on is, as I've been feeling these things, I've also been judging the shit out of myself for feeling those things. Like, come on, man, what are you talking about? You don't feel worthy. Fucking, you're worthy. Step up. Like that sort of internal pep talk can very easily for me be judgmental. So I think all of this, I'm giving myself the allowance to feel, Like I'm giving myself the space to feel and saying it's okay to feel these things. It's okay. And I believe that in giving me the space and opportunity to feel them and open up about them, be vulnerable about them and share them, that'll also lead to me not being so attached to them. Excuse me. All this talking. But yeah, I think that's part of it. Just me not being so attached to these feelings. And with that, perhaps the stories won't be spinning so quickly in my mind, and perhaps the voice won't be so loud. And, perhaps I'll have a little bit more courage to reach out to somebody when I need a little bit of help, or, perhaps I'll be able to honor it when I just feel like I need a break. So I'm working on giving myself permission for all of those things. And this has been a big step towards that. So honestly, I thank you for listening. And, if you can feel, and if you've connected with anything that I've shared, I just want you to know that it will pass and that it's okay. It's okay for you to feel those things. It's okay for me to feel those things. We're not going to be feeling this forever. It's an ebb. And what comes after an ebb is a flow. Ebbs and flows, the ups and downs of life. And this is just part of that, like I said, that human experience, part of being creatures that feel and who can think about our feelings and process things. This is just what it is, And what I think is beautiful about it is that each one of us are unique, and we're all going through our unique experiences. And, at the same time, the feelings that we're feeling are the same, and like, I don't have to know you, and I don't have to have gone through the exact same things you've gone through to be able to empathize with you and to connect when you're feeling scared, or you aren't feeling worthy, or you're feeling like your confidence is low. Because like, I've been there, and I am there, and I'm doing my best to live my fullest life, even with those feelings, even with those things swirling around. And I'm not in a space of believing that those things, will ever fully go away. They may not. They probably won't. You know what I mean? Like, being 100% confident in all times, like, that's just not realistic. Being 100%, loving and accepting of myself at all times. I'm not playing for that perfection. And I just wanted you to have permission to release that expectation from your life as well, to release that feeling that you've got to have it all together, that you have to know everything and have all the answers, and that you've got to be emotionally strong, and you've got to be confident, and like, you don't have to be, and all of it's okay. And it's okay if you're just doing your very best. And if your very best looks like breakdowns and crying and just like whatever it is, like, you're doing your best. And that's all that any of us can do, is the best that we have in the moment. And so if your best in this moment looks like a 1 out of 10, that's okay. In the next moment, maybe it's a 3 out of 10. Maybe like me, your ebbs and flows might come fast and furious. So one day you might be at a 10 out of 10, and the next day you might be at a 2. That's okay. It's okay. Do whatever you got to do to be able to keep getting up day after day and keep moving forward day after day. Do whatever you got to do. The space that I'm holding, the intention is that the things that you choose to do are healthy things, right? Things that add to your life, things that lift you up, things that raise your vibration, and just giving yourself permission to feel and to be, and to just acknowledge what is right now, and not try to deny it, and not try to do any of the stuff that we do, any of the things that I shared. So, yeah. One of the biggest things that has been a challenge for me through all of this has been faith. And faith for me is trusting and surrendering. So trusting, just trusting myself and God and the universe, and just trusting has been tough. And surrendering to this process, just being like, okay, this is part of the process. That's been tough too. And I'm I'm going to keep working at it. I'm going to keep working at that faith. I'm going to keep working on having that trust. I'm going to keep working on that surrender. I'm going to keep working on love, just having love for myself, having love for others, and having compassion. And so, I hold that for you as well. And I just, I'm sending you love. I really am. I'm sending you love. And, you're not alone. And let's just keep doing our best. Let's keep doing our very best. And, with that, I'm going to wrap this up. I again, thank you so much for just being with me and listening and holding the space for me. I'm grateful for it, and I'm grateful for myself for sharing. It's a big step forward for me. So thank you so much. My name is Matthew Bivens, and I'm going to catch you in the next episode. I love you all. Peace. Quick note about the Having It All podcast. I am not a doctor nor a licensed therapist. I'm a guy with a story and a passion for conscious conversation. My thoughts, opinions, and beliefs are my own. So please consult with your doctor or healthcare provider regarding any questions or issues you have related to your personal, physical, or mental health.